Okay, so in this poster we're going to use the verb helfen as an example of a verb that always takes the dative case. Now, what is the dative case? The dative case, grammatically speaking, is the indirect object of a sentence. But what does that mean? We know from the nominative case that it is the subject of a sentence. So, ich habe einen Bruder, I have a brother, I is the subject of a sentence. We know that the accusative case is the direct object of a sentence. So, ich habe einen Bruder, I have a brother. What do you have? A brother. So that's the direct object. But the indirect object normally is the person or thing that is the receiver of an action by either the person or thing in the nominative or accusative case. So, for example, I gave my mother a present. What do you think would be the nominative case in that sentence? I gave my mother a present. Okay, so I would be in the nominative because the sentence is about myself. What do you think will be the direct object? What are you giving? You're giving a present. Okay, so that's in the accusative. However, what are you giving? Or to whom are you giving the present? To your mother. Okay, so because you're giving a present to your mother is in the dative case because she's the receiver of the action. So you, as in I, are the nominative because you're the focal point of the sentence. The accusative case is the present that you are giving. So you are giving something to somebody. The receiver, or to whom is receiving the present, is called the indirect object. Now, I know it's slightly confusing. We'll go through the examples slowly, and hopefully if you have any questions, you can bring them forth to your classroom instructor or teacher. But let's go ahead with the table as we have in the previous videos. So we've daddy dasty, which is masculine, feminine, neuter, and plural. We're going to focus with the indefinite article, which is the at table. Now, like in the have and the accusative case where you've einen, ein, you've der changes to einem. And you'll notice that I have up in red the en for the adjectives that follow it. Die goes to eine, and I have the adjective endings for einen. Das goes to einem, and the adjective endings, and nothing goes on die. So you'll see that it's einem, eine, einem. So in one way it can be easy because if you did not exactly know the gender of the word, it's most likely going to be an em, einem, because einem are for der and das. And from other videos, you know that D words are words that end in ung or that end in t, a umlaut t or e. They will be D words. But if you didn't know, einem would be a safe bet to take. So einem, eine, einem. And underneath that, beside the zero, I have keinem, keine, keinem, keinen. So for example, if you're talking about the negative, not doing something. And I've stated already, adjective endings, en. So again, quite simple, they're quite consistent. Okay, so going through the pronouns are ich, du, sie, wir, sie. Instead of just conjugating or giving the pattern for helfen, I've used various verbs that also take the dative case, so that if you come across these verbs or use these verbs in class, you'll know immediately that to take the dative case. They're also frequently used verbs in German. So the first one, ich danke meinem Vater. Okay, so I thank my father. Ich danke meinem Vater für das Geschenk. It's das Geschenk, or you can say, ich danke meinem Vater fürs Geschenk. Why? the nominative in this sentence is ich, because I'm the person doing the action. I'm the subject of a sentence. What am I doing? I'm thanking. That's the verb. Danken, to thank. Ich danke. Okay. So I'm thanking my father for the present. Okay. So who am I thanking? Meinem Vater. What am I thanking him for? Für das Geschenk. So ich danke, I'm thanking. So ich is the nominative. The direct object is accusative, is the thing that's the object of a sentence. So what are you thanking your father for? The present. And to whom are you giving your thanks? Meinem Vater. So in this case, Vater is der. So der goes to einem. Now we have an example here of that. Einem. We thank our father. But because it's my father, if you look at the asterisk, where it goes mein, dein, sein, ihr, uns, euer, ihr, you just change the spelling, but keep the em, eor, em as appropriate. The second one, du hilfst meiner Mutter kochen, for example. You help my mother cook. Okay, so the nominative is du, because you're the subject of a sentence. What are you doing? You're helping. Okay, we have no direct object here. Well, you could say kochen is the direct object because it's cooking, but we're using kochen as a complementary verb. As a complementary verb is like a helping verb, a second verb. But don't get too focused on any grammar explanations. Just try to focus on the dative case. So you're helping my mother. So the mother is receiving the help from you. So Mutter, because it's die, goes to eine. That's a mother. But because it's my mother, meine. Du hilfst meiner Mutter. In the third example, gibt seinem Bruder das Geld. Right, and I have it labeled here. So gibt, so the focus of the sentence, the subject of the sentence is which is the nominative. Gibt comes from the verb geben, to give. So you're giving something. So somebody has to receive something for you to give something. So that's in the dative case. So gibt seinem Bruder das Geld. So very clearly you can see here what is being given. Money. So that's the direct object because it's the object that's been given. To whom is receiving the object? Who's getting it? Who's the benefactor? The brother. Okay, so because Bruder is a der word, it's einem. But he doesn't give a brother, he gives his brother. So einem changes to seinem Bruder. Okay? I've also focused on this sentence because when you have a verb and you have a dative and you have an accusative, the dative always comes before the accusative. But let's continue. So sie antwortet. Antworten, the answer, antwortet. So she answers. So she is the nominative. Antworten the verb. So she answers. Okay? So there's no direct object here. Because it's simply she answers nobody. She answers no men. She doesn't answer. She's not answerable to any man. Okay. So because it's in the negative, we've Herren, which is a plural. We'll go down our list and we'll see. Okay, there's nothing there for the a table, but for the negative, for kein, it goes to keinem. Or excuse me, it does not go to keinem. It goes to keinen. Keinen. So sie antwortet keinen Herren. The next one here is wir schenken einem Mädchen. So wir schenken, we're giving. You're giving. Again, you're giving something to somebody. You're giving something, which is the accusative direct object, to somebody. They're receiving what you're giving. And that's in the dative case. So wir is the nominative, schenken the verb, einem Mädchen die Blumen. I know I don't have Blumen there, but just for example, wir schenken einem Mädchen die Blumen. We give a girl the flowers. Okay, so what are you giving? What's in the direct object? What is being given? The flowers. To whom is receiving the flowers? A girl. So Mädchen, C-H-E-N, all nouns ending in C-H-E-N are das words. So look up at our table, das goes to einem. Okay? The final two then is Ihr gratuliert euch. You are congratulating yourselves. You're congratulating yourselves. Okay, so you are the subject of the sentence, but you are also doing the action to yourself. So you're congratulating yourselves. The last one, Sie folgen mir nach Hause. Folgen to following. So Sie, nominative, folgen, verb. What are you doing? You're following to the house, which is direct object, that's where you're going. And who are you following? Me. Sie folgen mir nach Hause. Now, I know, as I say, this case, the dative case in comparison to the nominative and accusative, can be quite tricky to understand or follow, especially with the einem, eine, einem, and then more so when you have the adjective endings en, en, en. However, as I say, Übung macht den Meister. Practice makes perfect. So any questions on this, again, ask your teacher, ask your instructor. There's loads of examples, there's loads of resources on the internet to help you work through this, and you shouldn't have any problem once you are aware of what verbs take the dative case. And even if there's a verb that doesn't explicitly take the dative case, that you can look at a sentence like a detective and say, this is the nominative case, because this is who the sentence is about. The accusative case is what's being done in the sentence, what is the object of the sentence, and the receiver of an action or the receiver of an object or the beneficiary of something is always in the dative case. So it's a little bit of Cluedo detective work, but once you have enough experience, it will all come into place for you.